bottom right, TSL's player. He has been talked up quite heavily by Koreans and Coach Lee. His ideas.
TSL Ragnarok.
Didn't show a whole lot of strategy last game. Still his playstyle mostly a mystery. Anyone who has only watched the GSL and GSTL hasn't watched his online matches. And at the top left, his Terran opponent for the team FXO used to play random. His idea is
FXO Gumiho.
Towel Terran.
That's right. And guys, you might be wondering about the Towel Terran. See, he has the towel over his mouse. He actually has, I believe it's called hyperhidrosis, where his hands sweat too much. And if you want to see the reason why he's actually called the Towel Terran is not just that. Like, I made a video of him at a qualifier. I'm like, what is this? This guy's playing at like 400 APM with a towel over his mouse. You can actually check my YouTube, Artosis TV.
Yeah, check that out.
YouTube and just type in Towel Terran. It's like amazing.
Yeah, you were
to actually watch him play. Yeah. But, I mean, this guy, what's so interesting is he's so harassment-based and multitasking-based, yet his hands are sweaty. It seems like that's the hardest thing to do because your mouse has to move so quickly.
And it's really even harder to sometimes micro only SCVs and Marines when you do a 2-Rax proxy in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
It's not 11-11. It's not the fastest proxy you could see, but it's still going to be very difficult to deal with the hatch first. This build it's kind of on its way out, I feel, but it's still very viable. It's like the Void Rail it's like it used to be seen all the time, and now it's like, well, you could still see it.
Yeah. Now, do you think that just for the more economical 2 barracks, or do you think that for both 2 barracks builds, the 11-11 and this one?
No, I think this one is on its way. I mean, proxy with the more economic way is definitely on its way out because you lose so much production when you're flying back. And if your opponent just holds, I mean, you're not going to be able to just sit back and make Marines there. That will never happen.
One thing that we'd have to see, let's say that this does get held, I feel like Gumiho either has to make his command center on the high ground to float back the barracks, or non-stop Marines at him. Because if you do non-stop Marine, it takes a long time for Zerg to actually have enough to come out and kill all the Marines. And by that time, you can actually go back to your base. You'll know it. It'll be coming. You'll be like, well, I've been out here way too long. All right,
so anyways, looking good so far.
Yeah.
He's already got the first bunker started. He can go for the pocket bunker. He's not going to do it, though. He's just actually going to keep this SCV very much alive.
And a nice surround there by the drones. It looks like he's going to lose the drone.
Not targeting the SCVs, though.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he's actually just going after the actual bunker.
Oh, this is a mistake, I feel, because the second... Well, if he gets the bunker, yeah, that's fine, but it's been canceled, and now he's already lost drones, and he can just start another bunker.
He's lost
go back.
4 drones have been gone, and the SCVs are at full health. There are a lot of lings coming out, though, and that's going to help.
This is basically on the best possible way for Gumiho. I'm a little bit surprised he waited this long to start another bunker. It's almost as if the timing has passed, and now he's just going to cancel it immediately. But I think he's going to go home from here, but with no speed on these earlies, and already with a 7 Harvester lead, he's got a command center on the way. He has definitely done the damage. He's been forced a spine, which not only costs money, but it costs another drone. His drone count's now down to 13.
That's right, and he lost 4, okay, and now he's made 16 lings. That's 8 less drones, and that spine, as you mentioned. That is like 13 less drones, but he's always going to make 2 or 4. So let's say 11 less drones than he should have right now.
Plus no gas. I mean, he's got no gas, nothing to cling to here.
I mean, he's safe now. Ragnarok is safe, but Gumiho has gotten well ahead here, and he knows it. He's already started another command center right there.
I think that's the best way to transition with this build is a double command center when you don't lose any Marines. If you lose the Marines, you can't do this, but if you keep the Marines alive, and if he wanted to, he could have continued production from the barracks without lifting them. He's going to be playing this super safe, though, holding the watchtower to spot how many lings come, and he's lifted the barracks. He's going to go and make them part of his wall off at the natural.
All right, well, the lings are coming up, but he's going to intercept them.
With no speed and basically even numbers of Marines to lings, it's just, it will never work.
Yeah. Yeah, the lings are actually going to be pretty much completely worthless this game. Like, later on, yeah, okay, you have some speed lings, but to make them that early, it's a hurtful place to be in. Now, he is going to make his wall in full with barracks. That's not necessarily for Marine production. Instead, it looks like he's going to have to tech up right now, and that's the right thing to do. If you just sit on unupgraded Marines for too long, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's very difficult to use them against Banelings. You lose a lot of attack potential without the medevacs, without Hellions coming out to control the map. You're very in the dark when you sit back like this. The only way you can scout is by scanning. You don't know if your opponent has speedlings all over the map. So You're right, and the factory's already halfway done.
Yeah.
He's got that third command center. The worker count right now is actually, in fact, 35 drones to 29 because he's making pure drones.
Yeah.
He knows he has to, but that makes him vulnerable to timing attacks, and that's exactly what Gumiho is going to be potentially gearing up for when he has stim and medevacs coming out.
Oh, definitely. And let's not forget that his creep spread's going to be really slow. He's actually going to 6 queens immediately. Now, I don't know if this is his regular style or he just wants to make up for it, but it's a good choice. Get that creep out there. Utilize the queens as your defense as opposed to units. And with 4 queens out on the map, you actually gain transfusion energy and stuff. And you can actually defend reasonably well because he needs to use every larva now on drones, as you mentioned before, Wolf.
Yeah, and I mean, wow, I like this choice. Siege mode very quickly here. I mean,
Great choice.
Immediately.
Great. Because look, he actually put the Zerg in a bad spot. And now he's getting double eBay and double command center behind it.
And beyond this...
And getting that siege is just going to be so safe.
I mean, think about what we've seen Terran players do with Hellions recently. Not a whole lot. They try to damage queens and maybe fought with Banshees, or try to run by queens. But as far as map control goes, it's just not been very effective. So to see a change in style for Terrans, not going Reactor Hellions at all, even though, yeah, it was kind of a weird opening, he's just skipping that phase. And that's something I really like to see because it's just less effective these days.
I just have to agree with you on that, man. I'm loving it. It's just to see someone get ahead and then do everything right afterwards can be quite a beautiful thing, you know. We have to try to figure out now, when is Gumiho going to attack? Because that's the one thing on Ragnarok's mind. He needs to drone heavily, power as hard as he can until it's attack time.
And look at all these upgrades, how they line up. Siege mode, 1-1. Tanks coming out. He's basically going to have a line of upgrades he can go with. He does not, however, have stim. The stimless Marines, it's going to be very difficult to actually make a very effective attack happen.
Now, when you get ahead in the early game as Terran against Zerg, oh, hold on, we do have these Marines down here doing some pressure. We'll see if this is going to change anything.
This is the problem when you drone heavily and you have no units.
Yep, and
nice control with the Queens trying to pick these units off. He knows he's going to lose the hatchery, but he's trying to make do with what he has.
And I mean, this is a bad spot for Ragnarok right now, man. He does have roaches and lings popping out.
He overextended those queens.
Oh, so painful. And Gumiho actually just wants to go home now. If he can go home with those Marines, I mean, that is...
Has Gumiho done anything wrong in this game, man? That is the question.
He hasn't. He really, truly has not. And, you know, this is something I was talking about the other day in... who was it? Supernova against, I want to say, Yu-Gi-Oh! I might be wrong.
I don't think it's Yu-Gi-Oh, but...
Or it was someone in his group. It was
another Zerg. I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh was in his group.
Yeah,
but anyway,
no, I guess you're right.
Go on. I want to hear the story.
Okay, but this is something I was talking about where when you get well ahead, and Gumiho continues to get more ahead, it's really oftentimes a very smart move for Terran to wait and time out his attack for 2-2. And there's a lot of reasons for that. First off, Zerg, they might hit 1-1, okay? But going into 2-2 is going to be even harder. And around the time 2-2 hits, you have stim, you have combat shields, you have siege tanks, the siege mode, you have a good number of medevacs, and you actually have that critical mass that's so hard to kill with Zerg, even if they didn't get behind.
Yeah, you've basically built the perfect foundation for a push.
Exactly.
This Viking already has 2 kills, by the way, and I love this addition. I mean, he is just basically... He's going into the perfectly normal game to play without making any mistakes. Yeah. This drop will actually not even lose a Marine. He already actually sent that drop with a missing Marine, so don't freak out, nerds. Say, no, I see you lost one. No, actually, he sent that drop with 1 Marine missing.
He did. It was a 7 Marine drop.
It was, man. 7 instead of 8.
Very technical.
He's like, I need this 1 Marine at home, man. He's not making any mistakes in this game.
Well, with the 3rd base up, and 2-2 almost halfway done. A lot of siege tanks already out at 3. That's a nice number for this time of the game.
4th command center already up as well.
I mean, Gumiho's setting up for a push that's going to be unbelievably hard to stop. And in fact,
it may be impossible.
In TSL Zerg style, we do see that Ragnarok's going for a Roach-based army. It looks like it's going to be Roach, Ling, Bane. And, I mean, that is a very powerful army, but as Gumiho realizes that's what's going on, he just needs to focus on making sure his tanks are sieged when this actually comes.
What becomes a problem with this type of push is the Roaches just simply cannot damage the Marines being healed by medevacs, and also upgrades become a problem because these Marines are going to be at 2-2, but he's got to split his upgrades between the Lings and the Roaches. So you see he's getting plus that 1 now for the Lings. So he's going to have 1-1 on Lings and Roaches, but no +2 Carapace or +2 attack on either of them.
Yeah, you know, he's just kind of behind in all these ways from the early game and what's occurred there. It's amazing to see what Gumiho can force out of this game based upon an economy 2-racks.
I think that, I mean, the one thing that Ragnarok really has going for him is his creep spread right now.
Yeah.
He's not missing a beat with that. He went up to 6 queens, like you said. The drop defense for him has been flawless so far, shutting down every single drop. Oh my god, that micro, though, from Gumiho. He's going to go for a second one.
Now, Gumiho does have 2-2 upgrades done. He is still trying to do some harassment, but not really losing anything that matters. Now, with that 2-2 done, he's adding a lot of Raxes. I feel like it's about time to move out. In fact, he's even going to add another command center. This guy's getting ready for a super long game if need be.
Yeah, he is almost, you know, arguably playing too safe here, but he is going to move out now and do a big push.
Yeah.
Not bringing everything just yet, though. Just wants to clean up some creep.
Yeah, you know, it looks like he's trying to get into position here. He does have a lot of Marauders in his army as well. He realizes this composition by his opponent.
Yeah, he double checks with that scan. That scan not only tells him that there are no more units he can actually move forward here, but allows him to kill creep. And this drop is going to be pretty devastating. He basically can't defend every location at once.
That's right, and this is a huge army going after that 4th base of Ragnarok. And, I mean, he's not even moving over towards it, man. He's going to let this go, it looks like.
Absolutely. He has no choice but to let it go. Meanwhile, it looks like he's going to get ready to try to attack here, but the better concave is going to go to Gumiho if he tries to attack up here. He's going to do it! Oh, he's so lucky that Gumiho is not ready for this.
Yeah, that's right. But even losing this army, he's going to be fine, man. He's microing back, killing as much as he can. Nice! Infestors pop! And hit a nice bungle there.
I think that's why he decided to go up there. He was trying to force it because he knew he could come out with the Infestors, but yeah. If Gumiho were at a concave at the top of the ramp, that battle would have been a different story, but I guess he was like, well, you're not, so I'm going.
Another drop going down at the 3rd base, drawing those roaches back as he moves forward and removes even more creep.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, but Gumiho, I feel like, needs to wait a minute and get more units. Look how small this army is.
Yeah, this army is, you can hardly call it an army. He's going to lose several siege tanks here. Those are not easy to replace.
Yeah, this was actually a super sloppy move. That's the first real mistake of Gumiho this game. You know, he spent a ton of units on the left side. There's no reason not to max back out or at least group back up with a couple rounds.
Yeah, he didn't even kill that much creep with that push.
The one, I mean, he got ahead economy-wise there by trading units for economy, which means that his opponent should have a small leg up in army. So he needs to wait a moment, let that economy hurt his opponent, and build up his own army again. So that was a very fundamental mistake of Gumiho to push out that quickly.
Yeah, beautifully said, in fact, Artosis. This Viking now up to 9 kills, unbelievably. That's actually
that's insane. That is a
I don't think I've ever
good
seen
Viking.
That. Yeah.
I mean, it's so smart to actually have a Viking out to clean up overlords like that. The vision of Ragnarok is actually much less than he'd like. He only sees his side of the map and where he has creep. That's it.
And that creep is being heavily reduced by these small move-outs by Gumiho. He's now up about 50 supply. He had so much infrastructure in place for remaxing. I mean, he's only making 4 Marines and 4 Marauders right now because he can't make any more because he's maxed already.
Yeah. And one thing to point out, though, is that the Greater Spire is about to finish, and Ragnarok has a good bank, so he's going to be going into Broodlords. There we go. 4 of them do start to morph, but he's going to have to hold on right here. I almost called you tasteless.
That's fine.
Okay.
It'd be an honor. And at this point, the Overlords are being pushed back. He's supply blocked. Ragnarok may just fall apart here. He's going to lose these Infestors. Yeah, 1 fungal is not worth 3 Infestors.
No, it is not, Wolf. And Ragnarok does not have much left here. His inferior upgrades really showing through. And these Marines and Marauders, man, going to kill too much before the Broodlords start to actually help him.
Oh, yeah, you're so right. The Roaches were just, I mean, they're powerful units. They're tough. But the composition that we've seen Gumiho build, how patient he has been in most cases this game, and how, you know, forward he looked with every move that he made in this game. He was just prepared for anything. The one thing I guess he doesn't have is Vikings, but yeah, he's going to have to lose units before he can even make those. That's how good his micro is and how much he's got
look at
left.
this. Oh, God, he's just going to target down everything that matters. We're going to have to see most likely GG here in a second.
GG.
That's... ouch. Gumiho completely outdid Ragnarok there. No question, he outclassed him, he outplayed him. Gumiho, really, that game, one mistake that we saw, which was pushing out with his army after trading army for economy. You can't do that. If you trade army for economy, That is the one point where your opponent's army is truly going to be good in comparison to your army. So you have to wait, you have to remake units, and then move out.
Yeah, I guess he just really wanted to get that creep, or maybe he already had those units moved out before he knew. He may have wanted to fall back to those units if the attack failed, and then he just never removed them. But either way, you're right. That's the only real mistake he made in that game. Now, the next player, is it going to be Symbol? Are they actually going to pull him out now?
Okay, it's Gumiho out there. No, I think Inori comes. I think we go with Inori and clean up with Symbol. If it was still tier, I would say otherwise. But I think it's time for Inori.
I think so. I mean, Inori is a former teammate of Gumiho, but he has shown good matches in the past.
Inori's done well lately. He really has. He's been coming up in the world, and Gumiho versus him should be a good match.
Yeah, it should be. I think that, I mean, it's either him or it's Revival or Shine, for example, but they're just not power hitters enough. They don't have the oomph necessary, and we've already seen him crush a Zerg that's really good. Why send another Zerg out against Gumiho here? No, even if it's your map choice.
It's the last two players, man. Symbol's one of them, of course. Inori.
I think so.
Inori.
It's got to be.
Right, they've loaded the map. It is Metropolis. That leads us to believe it's Inori even more.
Yes, because it's a great map for Protoss against Zerg. Gumiho is a Terran. Every time I think of Metropolis, actually, I think about Warp Prism all-ins with the Mortals because I've seen so many of those on this map.
That's true. But Gumiho is very good at TVP here. He's actually shown a lot of awesome builds on this map. In fact, one that I loved back when the 7 warp gates after your expansion were so big, Gumiho said, okay, and he went siege mode and cloaked Banshee and just siege his tanks on the high ground and laughed.
I remember that game.
Splashed an army to death and just killed him with Banshees. He was like, I don't know. It's so easy.
Yeah, I mean, he knows how to play the metagame well, I feel.
Yeah.
That's why I think we saw that 2-Rax build. It wasn't an 11-11 Rax. It was an economic 2-Rax. Even if it's in the middle of the map, it's a 2-player map. The way he hid them, the way he executed it was really, really nice. The defense was okay. But the thing is, like, he didn't target the SCV, but he killed the bunker, or forced the cancel on it. Gumiho kind of followed up a little bit weirdly. He wasn't sure if he wanted to make a second bunker. You saw that, a little bit of hesitation there.
Yeah.
And I think there may be a little bit of deliberation going on in the TSL team because we haven't had our player choice yet. Obviously, the map has been chosen. I think they've chosen their player, but maybe something more is going on here. I think it's going to be Inori. I would bet money on it.
Yeah. I think that's pretty straightforward. And Inori, I mean, he needs to pick up at least a win, man. I know that Symbol's crushed so far, 9-0. Oh my God!
But you can't do it every time.
Yeah, you can't rely on that forever. You have to. The rest of the team has to pull together and get some wins.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say. We've pretty much covered it all.
I think that we've covered everything, Wolf.
We have covered everything.
What should we talk about now?
Do you like reduced fat Cheez-Its more than regular Cheez-Its?
I don't know. I haven't eaten Cheez-Its really in like years and years and years.
Me too, but I used to eat Cheez-Its.
Which did you like?
Reduced fat.
Do you like the cheddar Cheez-Its, the white cheddar Cheez-Its?
White cheddar Cheez-Its are pretty good.
They're pretty good, but they mess up your fingers.
Yeah,
man.
they're not okay for gaming. That's why, and they're not as healthy. The thing is, reduced fat Cheez-Its are crispier. They taste better to me. They're less fattening, and they don't get stuff on your fingers, so you can actually play games while you eat them.
That's a good point because regular Cheez-Its make your fingers greasy.
Yeah, I talked to Taste about this yesterday. He came to an agreement, and actually, I didn't even see that. That's not Inori, though. It's Shine. Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't see his face, but Inori has kind of like a darker tone. I was like, no, not Inori. Shine. Okay.
All right. What do you think? What do you think about picking Shine and putting out Metropolis?
Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit surprising. Shine has not shown. He's another one of those players who's good. He qualified for Code A, but he doesn't have any stylistic preference. He's not a player where you say, oh, yeah, he's that player that does this. He's just kind of a solid all-around player, and I think this may... I don't know. I mean, it's not a mistake.
I don't like the choice personally, and here's another reason. First off, I feel like Inori is just doing well recently, but everyone's practicing nonstop against Zerg and think about the Zerg matchups. That's making everyone better and better against Zergs. Yeah, Zergs are currently winning, but I feel like, that is something that's going to change, and I mean, Gumiho's warmed up against Zerg right now.
You know what I want to talk to you about, actually, and Symbol's like, well, of course I'm next. But no, what I want to talk with you about is, do you think, Zerg's doing well in Team League more so than the individual league? Is that because, in fact, Is it because that in the individual league you have more time to practice for and prepare?
That is interesting. Let me think about that, and we'll talk about it after this 5-minute break. Don't go away.